more about 4 people saved from a sinking sailboat.
At this time last night, the Coast Guard was getting one call after another about boats in distress. We followed this breaking news during our 90-minute newscast. In the end, the Coast Guard received 5 calls for help. The X's there on our map marked their locations. And it was one of the boats off of Virginia Beach that was really in trouble. 10 on your side, Stephanie Harris has been looking into exactly what went wrong. Steph?
Well, Nicole, what went wrong is something that one Coast Guardsman told me those boaters could never have predicted: the weather.
From such a distance, it's impossible to see their faces, but they're likely a bit green with bloodshot eyes. The Coast Guard says the 4 retirees they rescued from rough seas came back extremely seasick.
They were freezing cold. So we got the heat cranked up for them, got them some water, and they pretty much passed out for the flight home. They were exhausted.
The crew returned tired too.
It was the most challenging thing that I've done so far as a helicopter pilot.
The weather made it impossible initially for the chopper to hover steadily over the sailboat. Eventually they ran low on fuel. Luckily, the USS Bella Gulf was nearby.
If the Navy ship had not been there, our only option was to come back home, and that was 230 miles away. So
they refueled and returned, but time was running out for the boaters.
Well, this is a rescue strop.
They decided to harness and lift each one individually. Instead of climbing into this basket, they instructed the victims to leap into the cold, dark sea, where swimmer Chad Watson met them.
For the situation they were in, they were very calm. They were still scared and frightened, and it was a big deal. So they went through a lot, but they kept their composure and nobody freaked out on me.
Pilot P.J. Johansson too was impressed with their cool heads.
We came up with a plan with them on the radio and just made sure everybody was a good swimmer, made sure everybody had a life jacket on, made sure everybody had some kind of retro on them or like a light so we could keep a good eye on them.
7 hours after they left, the crew finally landed. No one had serious injuries, but Watson said their recovery will likely be long and painful.
That was their home. They didn't have anything else. They had sold all their possessions, their house and everything back in, I believe it was April. And so hearing that was very sobering.
Yeah, the Coast Guard said the people on that boat did everything right. They had an EPIRB, that is an emergency position indicating radio beacon that alerted the Coast Guard, and they had life jackets for everyone on board. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
Now, as for the other 4 boats, one lost its mast and was taking on water, but was able to save itself. Another sent out an initial distress call, but ended up continuing on to Bermuda. The 4th was a medical call, but the boat ended up making it to shore on its own. And the 5th had simply drifted too far and was towed back today.